Welcome to Yeukai Business Show. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions, helping business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yeukai Kechidori.
Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. And on this show, I've got a special guest. Somebody who has a solution for our time today. Anna, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Absolutely. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, I really appreciate you joining me here today because I know you're very busy at Tony Robbins' event, doing a lot of great stuff there, but you've just taken some few moments to be with us here. Tell us what's happening there.
That's such a good question. So Tony Robbins is running his first ever virtual Unleash the Power Within event live. And you and I, we've both been to a few, we've crewed at Tony Robbins events before. We know the power and the energy that comes with being in a room with 18,000 people or whatever it is, you know, changing lives and transforming. And we get to do that virtually now. So I was approached by Robbins Research International, by the creative team, because they need, you know, people that know how to do automations well, because of my certain skill set. They said, can you please help us out? So I wasn't even going to attend because I was like, I don't know how it's going to be, but it's been such an incredible experience. We're on day 3. So for all of you Tony heads out there, you know, it's transformation day. So I'm going to have a fantastic day. I'm super excited.
It's amazing. We all love Tony. You know, my life changed since I've been taking his information. So for those who haven't come across Tony's events, you must get there, or at least find out, you know, the books that he writes and amazing stuff that he does. Before we jump into the podcast here, what is the number one thing you've taken out of the event so far?
Oh, that's a really great question. I think one of the things that I realized on Thursday, so it was the first day of the event, you guys, and we were like 1 hour in, and Tony asks for a participant, and I'm crew, so I'm not a participant. I'm working really hard behind the scenes, and my resting focus face, which is shows up on the big screen to 23,000 people, and I was like, oh my god, this is horrible. And my friends are texting me like, is your twin here at UPW? But I realized I don't have enough fun. I need to just really insert more activity, more excitement in my life to really, you know, bring more joy in. Because I think, especially with everything going on right now, it's very easy to fall into the trap of we have to be serious, we have to work hard, we have to make sure we get new clients, and all these things. We let the pressure get to us. And I think, you know, this weekend has kind of reminded me that I want to have a little bit more fun in my life.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to have you on this show for sure, and it's going to be great. Now, we've entitled today's show, The Answers for Entrepreneurs Who Wants to Know How to Thrive in Today's Market and in this downturn economy. And we have Anna helping us on that. Now, for those who haven't come across your work, Anna, please introduce yourself and what you've done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think I'll start with the big question, what are you? I get this question asked all the time. So I'm half Dutch, half Taiwanese. Right. I grew up in Taiwan, but I went to an American school, so I have an American accent. Right. Although the other day I said can't, and I was like, what? That's British. That's not me. So I'm still trying to figure that out.
But you're right. But you're right here in England.
Yes, I am. I am in England. I love it here. I came to university here, and I've lived here on and off for the last 10 years or so, and it's been fabulous. You know, I've really loved it. I feel like I became an adult here, so I think that's the thing. And so I started in the online space over 4 years ago. I have done travel. I've done social media management. I've done online business management. I helped a couple of businesses kind of, you know, scale. One particular business went from 5 to 7 figures in 18 months. So it was very exciting to be part of that. And to kind of lead a few of those projects within that company. And then I decided, you know what, I really like telling people what to do. So over a year ago now, I decided I'm going to start coaching people because my passion truly lies in empowering people to do their best work, because I've been there. You know, I've created an online course and then launched it to crickets and cried for a week about that. I have, worked really hard with clients and gotten amazing results. And I wanted to bring that more on a bigger scale and do that for more people. And that's why I decided to go into business coaching. And it's been phenomenal. It's been so much fun. And I just really love the ability to help people like Tony kind of recognize their patterns and break them.
Yes.
And so today, I really want to focus on the importance of being your own CEO and what that means for automations, because I don't think enough people are doing this. I don't think enough people, I don't know if you have a CEO day. Who here does a CEO day? At least once a month. I don't know many people that do. And what that does, I'm going to launch right in. I hope that's okay. I'm going to launch right in and say, CEO day is where you actually look at the business. You work on the business, not in the business. So you're not coaching, you're not selling, you're not doing social media, but you're taking a bird's eye view. So one of my favorite automations is recording everything that happens in my calendar. And what happens with that is usually I try to do this once every 2 weeks. I actually go in and I look at my statistics. How many sales calls have I made? How many sales have I won? What does that mean for my sales percentage? Do I know what that is? What was it for this month? How does that compare to last month or last year? Right? Where was my productivity? Where did it go? And really take a moment to acknowledge, am I living my best life? Am I doing this in the best way? And this way you can actually easily course adjust. It's another wonderful thing that they teach at Tony Robbins. If you start flying from London to Miami and you're 1% off course, you're going to land in Texas by the time the flight lands. So you don't want to do that with your business either. And so it's so important to have those CEO days to take a step back and not, worry about blogs or social media or that sales call. Mm-hmm. And it's important to sit back and say, well, what is it that I really can do? And being honest with yourself. Why did I lose that sale? Was I not in peak state? Was it because they weren't right for me? Be really, really honest about what it is that you're doing in your business so that you can be more effective.
Awesome. You've touched very briefly on the steps of doing it. Can we explore exactly how you do that on a day-to-day basis?
So I have an automation set up for that. So I have a Google spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet on my Google Docs. I can't remember what it's called, Google Numbers or something. And it literally logs all of the events that go into my calendar. So even this event, our podcast interview, it's in the calendar. And so at the end of the month, I can go in and I can look at all of the events and I separate them, like marketing and sales and social media. It gets its own kind of special thing, sales calls, actual coaching calls. And then I look at the breakdown.
Right.
And then I ask myself all these questions looking at the numbers.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and I of course I also have a spreadsheet that logs everything that goes in and everything that goes out, because otherwise my accountant will be very unhappy next year in April. And but that also is really important to say, okay, well, what did I invest in this month? Was it a new Diva light? Is that going to come up again soon? Like, do I have to buy a new one again? You can anticipate things as they come, because once you start doing this year on year, you start seeing the patterns. Like, for example, my Canva, it auto renews in November every year, right? And so I know that that's coming because I can see that from last year. So it's a really interesting approach depending on how you run your business. And I teach my clients how to do this, obviously related to their business. So it's a little bit more specific. But you can ask yourself these questions already. You just have to make sure you have the biggest categories are sales, marketing, coaching calls, and then also, miscellaneous, I like to call it, because there's, a lot of different things. And importantly, guys, personal. Are you spending enough time with your friends and family?
Incredible. We are going to touch that shortly because you have a very interesting approach, the 5-5-5 commitment. I would love us to touch that because, when we talked earlier on, it was really, really personal to me. I thought, yeah, this is the best way to look at it. So let's cover that a little bit later.
Okay.
But going back to, this very first step for anyone who is looking to automate their life, that is having the CEO days, if somebody gets stuck in getting this part of the very first step up, what do you recommend they do? Because people do get stuck.
So to be honest, you have to learn from people.
Right.
And this is something that I've done, and I feel like in many ways, I've learned. I stand on the shoulders of giants. I truly do. My path coaches, Tony Robbins, Joseph McClendon, Brooke Castillo. She's also an incredible person to follow. And I've been playing with this for 4 years, so it's easy for me now. And so if you want to skip the 4 years it took me to get to this point, come talk to me. But identify what is most important to you right now. Identify the key areas that you want to improve on and follow the numbers.
Incredible. Absolutely. Just to add on that one, I use two tools for this very same practice. I use a tool called Track My Sub, which is an online on there. Anyone can access it. Or the other one is a step shot, which literally helps me to document that. We will put the links in the recording, later on around here for people to access that. Let's move on to the next step, Anna. For those people who are looking to automate their business right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one, I'm going to start very basic. If you've never done this before, I want you to keep a log of literally everything you do in a week, like Monday to Friday. You get up. Do you go to the gym? Do you have a smoothie? Do you take the kids to school? Do you feed your child? Put everything in your calendar or write it down if you prefer. Yeah. And if you can also, I'm going to add a little bonus point for those that do. Write down how you feel at those times. Yes. Are you from 1 to 10? Are you feeling low, unenergized, unfocused? Or are you feeling great? Are you feeling passionate? Are you feeling ready to rock? And then at the end of the week, you can look back. And so this is almost, it's kind of like the CEO day, but not quite, because I don't really care so much about what you're doing. I care more about how you're doing them. So for example, if you see, I went to the supermarket 3 times this week. That's 3 hours of my life. I could have shrunk into 1, because if I planned my meals, I wouldn't have to go to the supermarket 3 times this week. Or, did you go out to Starbucks to get a coffee? Because obviously we've been in lockdown and getting coffee is important. What else could you have done? Could you have gone also to the shop? How can you cut down on that net time? And then also note when you're feeling your best.
Right.
So if you, on a Monday morning, for me, I love doing content on a Monday morning because I've come back from the weekend, I'm refreshed. I had all these ideas over the weekend because I had great conversations with my friends, or I just did a Tony Robbins live event. And I'm like, yes, and my brain is just exploding with great ideas. I want to write content on a Monday morning. I don't want to clean my house or do my laundry or any of those things. So there's many ways that you can actually make your life work at its best. I'm only Wonder Woman 20% of the time because I make my life in such a way that I don't need to be thinking all the time. I plan my meals so I know what's going to be eaten. I don't have to spend 20 minutes looking in the fridge going, oh, what should I eat today? Oh, I don't know what to eat today. And that takes up so much, not just time, but mental energy. It's very, what do I need to wear today? I don't know, what lipstick to wear today. I don't set those, I don't allow those decisions to enter into my life. When I was getting ready for this call, when I booked this podcast with you, I was very excited. I wrote out, right, this is what you have to do. And I have a time, half an hour before the podcast starts, to get ready. So I don't have to worry about, oh my God, when do I get ready? Oh my God, when do I do this? It's already planned in. So when you are making decisions, make everything clear as day, because then you don't have to worry about it. And I think, a lot of the times we get kind of stuck in this indecision, or we feel stressed out because we get put on the spot. For example, social media is so important nowadays. And, I post quite often, but I hardly ever post randomly. I always plan my posts. My posts are always planned 2 weeks in advance.
Right.
Because Monday morning is my content day. And I write content for the next week or the next week. And sometimes I move it around. It's flexible. I'm not saying everything has to be set in stone. But I don't have to sit there and go, oh my God, I have to post something on my Instagram and I don't know what to post. So I sit there and then I go on Instagram and suddenly it's 5 o'clock and I've just spent 3 hours on Instagram. I don't allow myself to do that because I know myself, because I've done the logging. And I think those kinds of things that you can do in all these different aspects of your life. And another important one, if you can't do more than 3 sales calls a day, guys, don't do it. Make sure you are in peak state. If that saps your energy, which sometimes it does, right, depending on what it is you do, then make sure on Calendly, on Acuity, you can tick only 2 a day, and the calendar will allow you to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is very useful information, Anna. Thank you for sharing that. And I can say personally, since we started doing this, personally started doing this with my assistant, of course, in the beginning, it was very difficult to do. So I got somebody to hold me accountable. And each morning, during the week, we talk about what, on a Monday morning usually, is what are we going to be doing and how can we structure that. And then the following morning on our planning moments, we touch base on that. And I can honestly tell you, once you have that set, you free up your ability to think on other things and you become very creative, very structured, and you've got this amazing feeling.
Yeah. And another top tip to add to that, this is something that I've been learning a lot about, which is psycho-cybernetics. Right. One small tip is make sure you check your calendar for tomorrow the night before. I always spend 10 minutes looking at my calendar and imagining tomorrow. Because once that picture is in my head while I'm sleeping, my subconscious, super powerful subconscious brain is working on it, which means by the time I wake up, it's 95% done. I just have to sit through it.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love that. Let's talk about the next step here for those who are in the process of streamlining their business, automating it. We've covered 2 incredible stuff. What is perhaps the last one that we can cover during this call that you would recommend business owners do right now?
Okay, so this is kind of going to the 5-5-5 just a little bit. So
we can transition nicely into it.
Yeah, exactly. I want you to take a break.
Right.
That's it. So to expand on that a little bit, I work with a lot of Americans and they have this constant work mentality. And I don't know if you know this, for those of you listening, Americans don't really get paid holiday. I think they only get 5 paid holiday days a year.
Right.
And like compare that with Australia, with the UK, it's like, what? Like, how do you only have 5 paid holiday days? It's because they're conditioned to be constantly living the American dream. Work. And it's actually not healthy. And so, I found it very difficult when I first started my business to take a break. I would be working weekends. I was working full time as well. I'd get up at 5 a.m. and then I'd do some work and then I'd go to work and I'd come back and, all of these things. And like, I'd have my sales calls on the weekends and it was exhausting. And so you have these periods where you burn out and you don't do anything, and then you work again and you burn out and then you don't do anything. So make sure that you just take a break. Again, to do with kind of like the psycho-cybernetic stuff, if you're focusing really hard and you take a break, you let your brain relax, your subconscious is still working on it. So don't worry, you're technically still working, but your conscious brain needs a break. So schedule it in if you have to. I know in June we had a couple weeks that was really nice weather. So I would block out 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and I would put my swimming suit on and go sit in the sun. I was like, non-negotiable. I blocked it out of my calendar. You cannot touch it because I'm going to just take a break in the middle of the day. And it really boosted my productivity because I actually had time to just sit with myself and, read a book that I was interested in. I reread Harry Potter because I love Harry Potter. And it was just so much more fun, and it made my work life also so much more bearable. So don't go in for the 80-hour weeks. It is completely unnecessary to do that.
Incredible. Yes. Let's dive into the personal 5-5-5 commitment. I love that concept.
Yeah.
What is it?
I came up with it, and I don't know if it was super ambitious because I'm doing it. I'm like, oh my God, this is a lot. So for me, I think it's important that every week you commit to 5 hours on your growth. So if that's learning something or meditating or, taking a new class, something like that, going to networking events, I want you to spend 5 hours. So what that means is I want you to give it. And it doesn't need to be pro bono work, but it can also be spending time with family, helping a friend move, helping a friend move a refrigerator, doing grocery shopping for your mom, like whatever that means for you, but giving to other people, not necessarily monetarily, so that you can actually create that sense of gratitude and also feel really good about yourself because you're doing good things in the world. And also save 5. And so what is save 5? For me, it's the hour before I go to bed. So that's just time for me. Sometimes I read, sometimes I meditate, but I don't engage with the outside world. I stay with myself. And again, I think I think it'll be really hard for parents, especially because they've got kids. But it's very integral because, during this pandemic, one thing that I learned was I love being social, but I love being by myself. And when you are able to spend time by yourself, you're able to love yourself more. And guys, that's the secret. That's the number one thing that's going to get you to success, loving yourself. So if you spend time loving yourself, you're going to be successful that much quicker.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just amazing. Truly is amazing. Grow as you grow, you open more opportunities for yourself. When you give, you've got this amazing feeling of contributing. And of course, when you've got time for yourself, gosh, this life you have to enjoy. Give yourself first, like Joseph McClendon says. Give yourself first.
Oh, yeah. That meditation he does at the end of UPW, it gets me every single time. I'm always like, I'm like typing while he's talking. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I love myself. But it's so true. It's so important to do that.
Yeah. Can you imagine, Anna, if we all would apply the 5-5 principle, as business owners, what impact we would make in the world around us?
The world would look different.
Absolutely.
And I'm like tired. I haven't slept a lot. I'm getting emotional because I think it's so important for us to really invest in ourselves, to learn, to get better, because there's always more, and there's always more to give, and there's always more to love about ourselves.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, as we come toward the end of our time here together, I want to talk to you about your daily habit. What do you do when you're up in the morning? What does your schedule look like that makes you, effective in what you're doing or your goals you're going after?
Okay, so there's quite a lot of different things that I do. And often it depends whether or not I'm traveling as well. Because I have fun things so I'm quite woo-woo, and I mean that in the best way. I love my spiritual kind of process and my spiritual growth as well. I don't know if you know this, but I'm also a sound healer. So I have gongs and singing bowls. I think you can see one just behind me there. So there's different things that happen depending on also where I am in my life. So June was quite a dark month for me. I found it very difficult to integrate all the pandemic stuff into my life. And so, that was a lot of self-care. Right. And so non-negotiables, I'll let you know, are my meditation, right, my journaling, cold shower.
Well, what is that?
So I take a cold shower every day. And when I'm doing my cold showers, I do my Tony incantations.
Yes, yeah,
and make my move, and so that really gets me pumped up. And it I embody like what I want to be that day, and that usually comes out in meditation. So, like I said the night before, I know I have a lot of coaching calls on Wednesday. I'm like, oh, I have a lot of coaching calls today. So today I'm going to serve. I'm going to be my passionate self. I'm going to be gracious. I'm going to make sure that I serve my clients. And I do that under cold water, and it just completely transforms your body. It's really, really cool.
It is, absolutely. I can vouch for that. The first time I heard about cold shower, it was at Tony's event as well, because he mentioned that every morning he jumps into this very cold.
Yes.
And I thought, what is that? And the reason I ask you to explain it, because I know some of our audience might not know what that is.
Yeah.
But
so check out Wim Hof, because Wim Hof is the guy that kind of started the movement. He's Dutch, so he's obviously, related to me. Just so you know, guys, he's not. And so I actually went to UPW, and then 2 months later, I did Wim Hof's workshop in Sydney. It was really cool. And so we were 2 minutes in an ice bath. So it's very cool. And then this year, on January 1st, I woke up in Geneva, in Switzerland. And so I dipped myself into Lake Geneva for 2 minutes. And that was 5 degrees. The water was 5 degrees, and I was in there for 2 minutes. So that's how I love to just wake my body up and wake my mind up.
Yes. And there are health benefits to that as well.
Yeah, like it burns, it increases your metabolism. It burns brown fat, which is like the bad fat, apparently. It boosts your immune system, and it suppresses things that are happening. I actually have a good story. One of my old coaches, he had bed bugs, and he didn't know because somebody had brought it in somewhere. I can't remember the story why. I think he was moving, and something happened. He had bed bugs. And so he had the bed bugs. He didn't know because he was taking cold showers every day. And so the cold showers were suppressing the reaction on his skin from the bed bugs. So he didn't realize until like a month later. He was like, I've had bed bugs and I don't know how long. But because of the cold showers, I didn't get any symptoms. I didn't get any rashes or anything. It was crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah, incredible. Well, I like your routine. Like we're talking about automation here. If you can automate the way you do your routine, you increase your efficiency in a lot of things. So it's not only in business ways, but also in your personal life. Now, for those who are looking to take their education further or start more with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me, Arna van Goch, on Facebook. That's where I hang out most. You can also find me at Being Dutchanese, which is on Instagram and on Facebook as well. Those are my two major platforms. So come find me, come say hello. I love talking to people. If you want to talk about cold showers, I'm all over it.
And you love traveling. Last year alone, you were in 4 continents. My gosh. I thought, what is she doing? She must be doing something right to be having this freedom.
So, my clients take me all over the world. Which is very exciting, and opportunities come up. So you obviously don't say no to a week in Fiji.
Absolutely, yes. Well, thank you so much for being with us on the show. Truly found a lot of value. I was taking a lot of notes for myself, and I can specifically say, the 555 personal commitment, it is going to be one of my action, what I'm going to be doing next. It's really good.
Amazing. So, I'm going to be checking up on you. Make sure you're doing it.
Yeah, hold me accountable. I like this. Well, thank you again for being here on the show. And I want to wish you a great time at Tony's event. And you are giving as well, which is amazing.
Yeah, and it's not just 5 hours, it's more like 50. So
I know.
I fulfilled my quota this week.
Well, Tony, we really appreciate you. It's making such a difference in our lives, especially for me. I can vouch for the work that Tony does. That's truly, truly blessed me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't mean to plug him or anything, but I do believe that the event in Birmingham that was supposed to happen in October, it's probably going to be live. So, which means the tickets will be cheaper. So if you thought about it and the price has been an issue, keep an eye out. It will be good. Yeah,
I will be there. You can count on it. I'll definitely be there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Indeed. And, we wish to be together sometime. I hope for. You could join us on another podcast sometime soon, talking about another aspect of business. That'll be good.
Totally. I would love to.
Yes. All right, Anna. And for those who are listening, thanks again for tuning in with us. And we hope you got a lot of value in today's podcast. And if you are looking for any support with your virtual assistants, you know where to find us. In fact, we have a promotion going on right now that you can avail yourself to. And with that said, have a great day. And I look forward to joining you very soon. And goodbye for now.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yeukai.businessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.